Alright folks, for this part of this video, I wanted to actually show the sensor. Will be doing multiple parts on this. Want to try to give this a best review I can, the most accurate, fair review. The reason why I'm saying that is because I've already had a lot of issues with applying this. May not be really the manufacturer, maybe the manufacturer. The first two, I got the first one to work, and then two more I could not get to work. Now I'm on the fifth try. I got that one to work. So there's a lot of variables and a lot of things that I've watched other YouTube videos and other things to try to help out with this issue. I found a lot of information that wasn't really specified or told to me about this. There's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad that I found. So it's kind of been equal. For me, this is not a life or death thing for me right now. My blood sugar is bad, but if I have to go a day or two without using this, I can. Other people where I would say you have a critical need to know what your blood sugar is, I don't know about this product. But again, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not anything like that. So you'd want to talk to your doctor about something similar to this. Because I have gone days without being able to monitor my blood sugar because of a problem. Not to mention, when you apply the new sensor, it takes at least an hour before it works, if you apply it properly and correctly. So that's where another issue is. But for me, for my type 2, my blood sugar is a little high when I eat, but it's in the okay range. It's not like I'm in the 800s or 400s all the time or anything like that and have to take insulin to monitor it. That would be probably a different story. But the main reason why I'm covering this is because of part of the stories that I've told of why I'm doing these videos is to spark an interest in someone, in technology, in stuff. And to me, this kind of drove home that whole thing. This I would consider the new tech. And I'll get into more of that. I mentioned it on the other little bit. I consider this new tech. This stuff is the old tech. The old computers. This is the old tech. New tech is your phone. Everything you can do from your phone. You don't need an actual physical computer anymore. You can check your email. You can do all that stuff all on your phone. That's all the new tech everybody knows about. But the new tech was all created from the old tech. So what this actually is this little sensor. You apply it to your arm. One of the key things that I thought was interesting about this is if you have your phone, you can pull your meter, your reading, get your blood sugar reading. Oh, I'm at 185 right now. But the one thing that I found that nobody really touched about in any of the information is you don't have to check your blood sugar like when you poke your finger to know what your results are. I find when I scan, and you can do your research and do more information on this, but this is a good point if you're interested in this, is when I scan, it gives me 8 hours of a bar graph of where my blood sugar is. It might not say you're at 209, you're at 180, but it gives you a lines, I think every 50, so you know if you're in between the 50s and the 80s or the 100 range, you know approximately where you're at. Not to mention you can set monitoring in there. So you want to be between 80 to like 150 or 200. It gives you a chart area. And then if you're up above that, you know you're over your 200 rating. Why I found that was interesting is because when I'm sleeping, I can actually see how my levels drop, go up, drop, go up. or how they stay stable during the night. And that could be based on what I ate, could be based on a lot of different things. A lot of that I've still got to kind of figure out what not to eat. There's some things I like to eat that I've really realized I can't have because it'll shoot my blood sugar to 400. Boom! And it was really kind of surprising to me because it was nothing big. It wasn't something that I thought would be that massive. But it let me know, hey, watch out for that. Some things that I ate where your blood sugar will shoot up to 350 and stay there for hours because you have too much bread, too much starches, or whatever that stays in your system longer. So then I have to reconsider that. Okay, I can't eat that, or I have to eat very little of that. So it was something that, it's a learning and process. So I thought it was kind of interesting how the technology's gotten to that point, and this has got chips and it's got all kinds of stuff in it and circuits and all kinds of stuff. I have one that I removed. It's not clean. It's got a little blood on it. So I want to warn everybody. But I'll show you it. I want to show it as it is. And I did not film me removing it because that's kind of a physical thing that can kind of hurt depending on where you put it. Can rip out the hairs, all of those type of things. So I didn't really film that. But basically you just pull it off. But I have one in here, the actual sensor. I have another part that shows you all the parts when I get it out of the box. So this is the actual sensor unit. There's a little like pin here. When this comes out, it sticks on your skin. That needle goes in to your skin, and that's what monitors your blood sugar. It's got this big sticky pad here, all the way around. And this one's still very, very sticky. So that's what makes it stay on your arm. So let me peel that off, but what interesting is all the tech that goes involved. If you look real close, you can see the battery. You can see a lot of other little things through the clear. So that was interesting because that will go back to all of my other videos where I talk about motherboard batteries, motherboards, memory, hard drive, all of those type of things. What kind of physical memory and stuff. It's all basically the same. This probably just has a little memory chip in it or something. It doesn't have a full memory stick like your computer would. But that's all based off of your computer technology. So I thought that was interesting. It's the same as if you test your blood sugar the old-fashioned way and you have a reader. This one comes with a reader. After everything I've seen and everything I've looked at, the one tip I have and the one tip everybody else has is when you put the new sensor on, you want to scan with your reader first. Because if you don't scan the sensor with your reader first, you cannot use this reader on your sensor. If you scan with your phone or some other device first, it will not accept the reader. So that's one thing that a lot of people have mentioned. So I wanted to mention that. But not a lot of information that I found told me that you can really scan from your phone. You go online and you could see some of the information that says, oh, you can use your phone for monitoring. So that's what's nice because you still have the old style. This one supposedly has where you can put the strip in to do the strip testing, so you can still do that. So this is still the same kind of technology of the older styles. So I kind of thought that was interesting. It's a mix between the two. It's not like this is what you got and this is only what you can do. This really seemed to be really flexible and really a nice, well-bound, rounded system. But I've had to do some research and I had to look up, what my error was and what I did wrong. and I found all this other information talking about this system. And I kind of thought that was interesting because nobody kind of lumped it all together. And this is really new to me. I'm checking it out. And of course, curious on how it all works. What is it? This is what it is. It's just a little sensor. It sticks on there for 14 days. Once the 14 days is over, the reader and whatever, your phone or whatever else you're using to read that device will tell you your 14 days is up. Please remove, apply another. Other thing that I found is a lot of people recommend you take a nice shower, you wash, you clean that arm, dry it really well, and then follow the procedures on how to apply it. I think that was probably the problem with the first one, is I just followed the procedure. This one ran out. I cleaned it with the alcohol pad, waited till it dried, stuck it on there, and it fell off. So it was either the arm wasn't clean enough, even though you used an alcohol pad, maybe it just kind of spread it around, or it was a bad unit. I'm not too sure. But it literally just fell off my arm. As sticky as that last one was, even I took that off 4 days ago, it's still really, really sticky. So it leads me to believe that was more maybe a bad one or a combination of the two things. So I don't want to give it a bad review. This is going to be just kind of an overhaul of all the little things I found. And hopefully within 3 to 4 months, I can come back out and give a full review on this. On, would I recommend it? Am I staying with it or not? But I thought it was interesting because it is tech. It's the technology. Now you have 2 devices, 3 devices all communicating and transmitting data. Not to mention you go to your phone, you can actually share those charts to your doctor, to your friends. Maybe you have someone else that has diabetes, something else that you guys are on a diet together. Maybe there's all kinds of options there. You have those options to share those charts. So I thought that was nice because a lot of these devices, once you scan it, it's in the device, and then you got to figure out how to save it, how to back it up, how to send it. You can do all that real simple kind of through the phone, I thought. So there were some advantages there. And I thought, well, that's kind of interesting how the tech has caught up and we got to this point. So I really wanted to talk about that. Because I mentioned in some of my other videos, you never know when the inspiration's going to be. You have someone who worked on computers or who knows what came up with this kind of an idea. You don't know where the next tech can come from. And it's quite amazing to me from where things have come from, the old 386s, to having something like this that you can use. I don't know if anybody knows about 386s, 486s. Go back and look at them. Those things were monsters. You didn't have a small little memory stick. You had a memory card. I have one in the back. One day I'll get to it and show all of that stuff off. But it's really interesting to see where everything's come to that, in the old days, prime example is there's a motherboard with a CPU socket and everything. Compared to just a CPU size of a computer. That's the interesting parts, is how small everything's gotten. Everything's gotten so small, and you can use it in different ways now. There's different chips that can do multiple functions to get something that size. What's going to happen a few years from now? Is it going to be half the size? Is it going to be a dime size? You never know. But these can be the sparks and to get someone interested in stuff. Not to mention, just knowing some of this information could lead you to engineering degrees and other things to do things like this. So that's really where I got interested in the field, is realizing all the interesting stuff that can go on. Not to mention, this is technology, engineering side. You have all your software side. Gaming, programming, all of these other things that can lead into other things. Designing. You got Windows 11 coming out. You have the new designs for gaming so that basically stuff from your hard drive can go right to your video card without going through your CPU. That's a whole engineering issue. That's something that someone's thought of on the gaming side to figure out how do we make best performance, make these little changes, and tweak some things. So that's why I wanted to review this, to touch on this, because I thought it was interesting. You might have seen commercials for it, you might see ads for it. Of course, it's probably on the internet and everything else. But I wanted to do a little short video, 1 week, put it all together so people understand exactly what it is. The technology in there. How it's actually can be used. Because I don't think it's really marketed and pushed the way a lot of people would know. Oh, I can buy this and scan it with my phone, 3 times a day, 4 times a day, and have all my chart numbers. But you can always put that on there and pull a number to see what your level is. Turn it on, and it gives you your level. A little high, but 38 brightness. So you can see on there the chart of where it was at. Now that goes all the way back to like 11 p.m. And I haven't used this reader in about 5 days. So that was the interesting part to me, is it gives you all of that. I don't know if the other styles do. So you can actually look and see there's ups and downs in there. That was kind of interesting to me, to see that. So that means it's constantly testing, constantly seeing what your levels are. And that was kind of an interesting tech idea. And I thought, well, you know what, that was really kind of clever. Because at first, I just thought this was a device where you don't have to poke your finger and you test, and every time you do that, it tests. There's more involved into this. So I was actually quite surprised that they went that far ahead on the technology. So I wanted to sum that up because you never know what the next invention might be. Someone might see this video 5 years from now. Maybe this device ain't around. Maybe all these devices they decided aren't worth it. Stick with the old method. Maybe they come out with something new. Maybe even an implant where you stick the thing in there and you just take it, who knows what might come in the future. Where then someone goes back and sees this and goes, hey, that was a great idea. If we would only have done this. And there you'd have a whole new idea. Just as simple as rerouting buses from your hard drive to your video card. Now that technology's gotten to a certain point, they're working on that. They're trying that. So you never know where you might have hit a roadblock today, but 5 years from now the technology's there and it might be all possible. And you watch something like this and you go, hey, you know what, that was a great idea. We now can do this. Let's do this to that. And you have something great. Might not even be to test blood sugar. It could be for anything. Could test your blood pressure. You never know with these things. The next generation might test blood sugar, might test your blood pressure, might test your oxygen, might test 100 things off of a device maybe half that size, because someone came up with this and someone said, oh, you know what, this is a great idea. Let's add this and this and this. And you have a great device. An overall around device. Kind of like computers. Started out with an Apple IIe. You booted with floppies. You played the game with floppy. You changed floppies. Came your hard drive. Came your OS. Came all of this stuff. All integrated to where we are today. So I think I've gone on long enough with this one. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you for watching.